I F31 couldn't help my husband M33 lift a deep freeze up our basement stairs. Husband threatened to let cat out into the wild and I ended up sleeping on the couch. Help! My husband and I are selling our house. We needed to move our cats to our new place and our deep freezer, all of which were at our old house. I told my husband ahead of time that I didn't think I would be able to help with the freezer. I had back surgery 7 years ago, I'm not just lazy. He still decided that it would be easy and we would be doing it. Fast forward to us on the basement stairs. Me 5'7" plus 130 pounds, barely any body strength. Him 6'3" plus 220 pounds, can lift insane amounts. I'm holding the handle of this two-wheeled cart, trying to lift this deep freeze and stop it from tipping down as he lifted and tipped up from the bottom. The stairs are so shallow that each time I lifted it and moved up, I would have nowhere for my feet to go and my butt would hit the next step up. This was incredibly challenging, but I just kept going. When we got to the landing, there was nowhere else my body could go, so we got stuck. This is when he started making faces and comments under his breath. Acting as if I'm stupid, not seeing anything from my point. So I was a little snippy, saying that I was trying my hardest and I tried to tell him that I wasn't going to be the best help. He proceeds to tell me to control myself and quiet down, which makes me more upset. I'm not a woman who nitpicks every little thing. I'm much more understanding than I probably should be. I'm also not stupid. My dad was physically and mentally abusive my entire life. I see an amazing therapist 2 times a week and am diagnosed with PTSD, depression, anxiety, etc. These things have been happening on and off for years. My husband was recently diagnosed with autism, which is not an excuse for any abusive behavior. I'm just putting this in here because without any backstory this may be a bit out of context. Back to the deep freeze. He continues to escalate his mean nature with me and says that I should get out of the way and that he can do it himself. So I back off. 2 times he was struggling and I offered to help him and he was mean to me, so I backed off and lashed out. I walked into our house and let out a frustrated yell sigh. He comes in and starts telling me how I'm out of control and I'm worthless. I'm yelling over him because it's been 7 years of this and hearing the abuse has been killing me. He laughs heavily and says a bunch of terrible things. I walk out and walk down to the lake and sit on a bench for an hour. I turned off my phone, but when I turned it back on he had texted me once, asking me to come back. When I came back, he had gotten the freezer outside himself. He asked, "Are you going to help load this freezer in the truck?" I told him no. I got in the truck and waited. He said, "I'm going to let our boy cat out free and get my cats in the kennels to transport." I ignored him, but he somehow got the freezer in the truck himself. And one by one he brought the other 3 cats out to the truck in carriers. I watch him walk down by our shed and start yelling our boy cat's name. I immediately start bawling and freaking out because this house is on a very busy street. My husband comes walking back up still searching and then he gets into the truck. I asked him if he really let the cat outside. At this point I'm screaming bloody murder. He's just looking at me with this almost but not quite smirk on his face. He doesn't say anything at all for a bit and then he says no. I yell and say go get him, and again I am freaking out at this point. I have an iced coffee in my hand. He laughs at me and tells me to go get him myself and throws the keys at me. I squeezed my drink when he was laughing and I was reaching for our vape. He laughed harder and said, "I'll just get my secret one." And I squeezed harder. The cup cracked and the drink was pouring down my hand and he laughed harder and told me I was evil and crazy. So I threw the coffee at him. Things like this up until the coffee part have been happening for a while. I have a plan with my therapist. His parents know what's been going on, which I did not want to have to get involved. But after watching my husband go woo look at me, I'm messing with the trigger while point a loaded rifle at his chin with the safety off while standing at the end of our bed, I had to inform them. He got his autism diagnosed shortly after this. I bring that up because I told his mom what was happening immediately. That is part of what set him off. After I threw the coffee, I went inside with the house keys and locked the door. I ran up to our old bedroom and I just cried. He came in and pounded on the door. I didn't move. He left and went to our new house, which we are sharing with his parents. Imagine 2 condos type situation. His parents come and pick me and our boy cat up into our new place. When we arrive he's just sitting in the truck. He hasn't unloaded. He hasn't cleaned himself up. I told his parents that I would clean the truck immediately and that it was completely wrong of me to throw the coffee at him. His mom was boiling at him. When he came in he said, "I don't want you in the bedroom. You can sleep on the couch." I said okay and went to the bathroom. When I came out the blanket and my pillows were on the couch. The night went on. I cleaned the truck. His mom came downstairs and sat with me for several hours. When his mom went upstairs he got onto video games and played with his friend until 3:30 a.m. While I was bawling and feeling like my life is over. Just wanting to die. He goes to sleep, I go to sleep, the next day comes and he sleeps until 3:30 p.m. He comes out of the bedroom and walks by ignoring me. He goes to the bathroom and then goes back to the room. Says nothing. All of this to say, is my marriage over? I'll give more info for anything that needs clarified. Dia. But after watching my husband go woo look at me, I'm messing with the trigger while point a loaded rifle at his chin with the safety off while standing at the end of our bed, I had to inform them. He got his autism diagnosed shortly after this. What? I have close friends with autism and they aren't abusive and threatening assholes who actually will use animals as leverage. Look up reactive abuse and ignore people who are telling you are also toxic. People like your partner prick and prick you until you react, and then you're the bad one, seriously. Please make a plan to get out of this marriage FFS.